Hey guys, I watched this video by Bernard from Shapen's Inferno, and he picked up a link from Mr. Lorenzo about the Paycheck Fairness Act that's trying to be passed in America, and it's a really asinine law, incredibly crazy, and I can't believe that. Well, there obviously is some logic and reason still going on since the act didn't pass, but I can't believe this act was even considered. It's really a further step on the road to complete and utter insanity. The first step, of course, was affirmative action, and this is just another step, and another step. Because I'm saying it's another step because it will never stop. The only way these kind of systems will work is if they're taken to the ultimate, conclusion, which is complete and utter socialism. And it's not like this act is anything new. I don't know how it is in America, but in Australia, at least for the low paid work, we already have, it's gone fuzzy a bit, we already have the system in place where everybody gets paid the same, and the jobs are kind of outlined in the kind of contract thingy for the group that you fall under. However, that's not how it works in real life. So for example, I worked as a waiter, and everybody gets paid the same. But what happens at the end of the night? You have these tables, and you have to pack everything up. You have tables, and you have tablecloths on top of it. And of course, all the women pick up these tablecloths and start folding them nice and neatly and hanging it on a coat hanger. And the guys have to, lift these heavy tables, fold all the legs, and roll them down, stack them. And look, it doesn't even matter if the guys are really small and the women are fucking massive. It didn't matter. The bosses just said that, women do this, guys do this, and but we were all getting paid the same. This would be fine if the men got, paid a little bit more for the physical labor they had to perform, because all the guys could fold tablecloths also, but not all the women could do the physical labor. So let's see what the repercussions of that would be. So let's say it all starts off fairly, where yes, men perform a bit more physical labor, but they get rewarded for it. They get paid a little bit more for putting their body on the line. Look, even if men are more capable of doing a job, it doesn't mean that the job doesn't affect them as well. Like the physical labor a guy has to do from lifting heavy shit, it's affecting us, alright? That's why men are dying earlier, that's affecting us. That's making our joints, work more and wear out, and giving us problems when we are older. And a lot of men are happy to take the risk, for their wives, for their children, as long as they get paid for it. As long as they get rewarded at least some respect and recognition. And that's like, I shouldn't even say that, but of course, like I want men to get paid, the monetary kind of value, but at least some respect would be nice sometimes. But anyway, let's say we started off everybody getting paid for the job they are doing, and say you need 5 people to carry the tables, but you only need about 2 people to fold the tablecloths. So you have a workplace where there are more men working than women, and the men are getting paid more on paper than women are, but they're being paid according to the kind of job that they need to do. However, the feminists come along and look at the disparity, or I don't know what word they use, but they look at the difference between how many men, there's so many more men working here, and they're all getting paid more than us, and there's a wage gap, and it's discrimination. So now the first thing that comes into play is affirmative action. So okay, now you have to have as much women in the workplace as men. So now you have, what is it like? So you have 3.5, well, whatever, like you have equal amount of women, but to have an equal amount of women, the money's got to come from somewhere. The employer can't just employ suddenly more women but not have a job for them to do. So you have an equal amount of women and men, but now because you had to fire some men, you had to get rid of some men to hire those women. The men still have to do the physical labor, but now they have more physical labor to do, since the other men are gone, and the women can't do the same amount of physical labor that the men can, or can't do it at all. So that would be fine if now you have to increase the wage of the men a bit more. So now the wage gap is even higher for the men. Like, and okay, so the men, yeah, they have to do a bit more work, but they're still getting rewarded for it. But now the feminists look at it again and they're like, oh wow, the wage gap just increased. Like, what's going on? We put this affirmative action in, and you know, we got all these women hired, but the wage gap is growing and growing, and we don't understand why it's happening. So, and this is the progression of the system again. It progresses, you know, up to fucking, you know, up to a certain point where it's really, really horrible, and we'll go there. We will go there. So now they have this paycheck law, and they have all these kind of laws come into place. So now the women have to get paid the same. So either the women's wage rises or the men's wage falls back down. They're still doing the same kind of job. Like, the women are still folding tablecloths. The men are still, you know, lifting the heavy tables, but now they're getting paid the same. And look, the amount of people who can tolerate something reflects the unfairness between the people. So okay, so say the unfairness at when the men had to do more work and the women had to do less work was like up here, and maybe the only person pissed off would be me. Now the unfairness is like fucking out here, and more people are getting pissed off because, you know, what the fuck, like, we're doing the same heavy lifting, we're putting our bodies at risks, women are doing fuck all, but they're still getting paid the same. And there'll always be some men who are like, oh, they're women, you know, we need to look after them. And but the wider this gap increases, the more people will kind of wake up and start questioning what the hell they're doing at the workplace. So now these people have to, you know, think, oh, look, this company is really, really messed up, and look, this company kind of doesn't do that, so let's go to that company. So now all the skilled labor will, you know, transfer its way to the company, to the company that kind of doesn't do that stuff. And of course, if you have skilled labor in the company, a company that hires people just because they're good at something, that company is going to succeed. So now that company has, say, all the guys, for example, and this company is left with all the women, but they can't do the work, and this company fails, so now all these women are unemployed. So again, there's the spike in, you know, the wage gap and the unemployment gap, and again the feminists freak out and like, what's going on? Ah, this is terrible, you know, the wage gap is growing higher, but we're putting all these laws in, and we need to regulate these laws more harshly. So now they spend all this money, you know, regulating to make sure that people are paying the same amount of money. So there's more resources wasted just to regulate everything. And finally they get to this company and regulate this company, and they make it exactly the same. So now it doesn't matter which company these men go to, they'll be treated unfairly in either place. And now what do? Well, they look to, you know, was it the state law? They look to a different state. So now they all go to the different state. And again, the feminists freak out because now the state is failing. Over the long term, that's what's going to happen. You know, unless people are willing to be slaves, they're going to either fight the system to change it, but eventually we're just going to get the hell out of Dodge. And now the feminists again are freaking out because now the state is gone, and there's no jobs. The unemployment is really high because there's no companies. All the companies, you know, moved their work to somewhere they could be more efficient and hire whoever they want to, rather than who they're forced to hire and pay them what they actually are worth. So let's put more laws now. Let's stop people from moving into different states. Okay, and that's where, and you can see where this is going, like, you can see where this progression is going, and this is the exact same thing that's happened in kind of North Korea, but that's the extreme, but that's how it's going to progress, because there's only so much that people are going to put up with. And like the only other way I can see that this system can work is if you brainwash enough people into putting up with all the bullshit. So the way I see it is we're working to kind of prevent the brainwashing from happening, but I don't think we're even needed for that. I mean, I believe that people are kind of more or less smart enough to realize when they're getting fucked over eventually, and I hope so anyway. So that's kind of my 2 cents on the issue, and I'm really glad that the law didn't pass actually, so congrats. And yeah, hopefully this will get better and better from now on. It's good to see there's some reason and logic still around, and of course, like we mentioned, that it's coming from the Conservative Party, so there you go, something to think about.